Uh-oh, looks like we might finally be getting some real tea about what actually went down with Usher during his time at Diddy's so-called flavor camp. And trust me, it's not like the streets haven't been whispering already, because the amount of talk out here, it's overwhelming.
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling, and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital.
But babes, the word now is that even more insiders are ready to come forward and spill exactly what Usher went through. And one of them is said to be a health professional. If that's true, this could flip the whole narrative on its head. Now, will it shock us at this point? Maybe not. But from what I've heard, the situation was way darker and far more chaotic than anyone imagined. We all know the setup by now. When Usher was first signed to LaFace Records as a young teen, the label handed him over to Diddy for mentorship. At just 14, Usher packed up and moved to New York to live with Puff. And here's the kicker, his own mother signed off on that arrangement, even though she admitted later on that she didn't even know who Diddy really was.
Remember, Usher went to stay with Puffy. Now that was a business decision right there, because I didn't know Puffy. I didn't know him.
According to Usher's mom, things got complicated when Usher hit puberty. His voice changed, the label lost interest, and the industry was ready to move on. That's when Diddy stepped in, promising to take Usher under his wing if his mom would just trust him. But allegedly, instead of protecting him, Diddy exposed him to a whole other side of life, the kind no 14-year-old should be anywhere near. Take this for example. Ed Lover once recalled walking into a club and spotting a kid in the VIP section drinking champagne straight from the bottle. He couldn't believe a child was even allowed inside the club, let alone standing next to Diddy, chugging champagne like he was grown. Later on, when Usher's debut album finally dropped, Ed realized the kid he saw that night was none other than Usher, allegedly, and honestly. After those flavor camp days, Usher's energy around Diddy always seemed off. His discomfort was written all over his face, like he carried secrets he didn't want to speak out loud. One example, that awkward moment when Diddy was talking about Kevin Hart in front of Usher, and Usher's reaction told us everything we needed to know.
My brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, pause, but like, check this out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes, you know what I'm saying, before pause was invented, you know what I'm saying, but it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars.
Did y'all catch Usher's face when Diddy casually said, "We used to wake up together"? The man looked beyond uncomfortable, almost like he wanted to shut Puff down right there. And what made it even stranger was how Diddy first tried to joke about Kevin Hart being too close to the bed, only to follow it up by admitting that he and Usher used to wake up side by side. Real suspicious, right? And if you were paying close attention, you probably noticed that little toy sitting on the bed in that clip too. Then there was another moment where Diddy tried to hype Usher up, calling him fly, and started reminiscing about Usher chilling in his kitchen, eating cereal. Now why is Puff so pressed about those memories? It just doesn't sit right.
Yeah, I was so mesmerized, I don't even know what you're talking about. I was just so blown away by the stamina, the connection, being able to be connected, that long, so much, you had like so much mother on this head, all those dance numbers and all that.
Take your time with it, breathe it in. Yeah, they yours, and you gonna see this for you. This ain't for nobody else but you. You take that time, boy. I see you. Fly ass fucking doing Vegas. You in the kitchen. Eating all my cereal. Man, you doing Vegas in a pink suit. God is the greatest. Won't he do it?
And here's where things get darker. Allegedly, the reason Usher has always seemed uneasy around Puff is because Diddy had his way with him, and according to Gene Deal and others, the situation was so bad that Usher ended up in the hospital. Allegedly. What's worse, whispers say that these disturbing events were supposed to be revealed in the tell-all Kim Porter was writing before she mysteriously passed. Insiders claim Kim's book laid out in detail how Puff allegedly hooked up with multiple men, and even how Usher's mom confronted him after discovering that Puff had been intimate with her son and possibly gave him an STD. And get this, there are also reports that Kim had video evidence of Diddy taking advantage of Usher. But all of that vanished, because right before her death, someone broke into her home and only her laptops went missing. Convenient, right?
Kim know all his deepest secrets. You understand? Kim knew why he was using the butt plugs. Man, Kim probably told all that shit in her book. You understand? That up and got missing the day she died.
So honestly, at this point, it's hard not to believe something went down between Usher and Diddy, allegedly. And let's not forget, Usher himself has dropped hints about some very wild and inappropriate things happening during his time at Puffy's so-called flavor camp. Just take his infamous Howard Stern interview as an example.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Child, when Usher sat down for that interview, he made one thing crystal clear. As a father, he would never let his own son attend Puffy's so-called flavor camp. And honestly, that comment alone told us everything we needed to know back. In 2004, Usher also opened up to Rolling Stone, saying Diddy introduced him to a whole new world. When describing life inside that house, he admitted there were always girls around, doors opening to people in the act, and sometimes full-on orgies happening in different rooms. You never knew what you were walking into. Fast forward to Usher's 35th birthday in 2013. With Puff in the audience, Usher gave a speech where he talked about how, at only 15, Diddy exposed him to parties, women, and everything that came with that lifestyle. He admitted he got a taste of it but swore he never let it consume him. And one thing he made very clear, he wouldn't pass on any of the advice Diddy gave him. That says a lot. Even in his Essence magazine cover story, Usher seemed to let something slip while he was open and confident discussing films, music, and business moves. The moment the interviewer brought up his time living with Puff, his whole vibe changed. He became reserved and finally said, "I want to save some ish for my book one day," let's just say. There was a lot of S. That alone speaks volumes. And don't forget, Usher was also referenced in Lil Rod's lawsuit against Diddy. While his name was blacked out, fans quickly connected the dots. The redacted section described an artist who performed at the Super Bowl and had a Vegas residency. Who else fits that description besides Usher? Allegedly, Puff bragged to Lil Rod about hooking up with two industry names. One being a Philly rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, allegedly Meek Mill, and the other being the mystery artist who we all know points to Usher. Now, to be fair, Usher's not completely innocent either. There's a lot of mess attached to his name too, which may or may not stem from what he endured with Puff. For example, remember the herpes lawsuits? Quantasia Sharpton, along with the Jane Doe and John Doe, all claimed Usher slept with them without disclosing his alleged diagnosis. They said he recklessly endangered their health and took him to court for damages. One woman even claimed she was with Usher at least twice, and after allegedly contracting herpes, she lost her twins to stillbirth. These stories spread like wildfire, but instead of fighting them publicly, Usher allegedly paid over $1 million to make them disappear. And if you ask me, that move didn't scream innocent, it screamed settling quietly. And then there's the whole Justin Bieber angle. People say the cycle repeated itself. Just like Usher once got introduced to the wildlife through Puff, Bieber allegedly went through something eerily similar. Insiders even claim that after Usher had finished grooming Justin, he passed him off directly to Diddy. Allegedly,
Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay, I get the mansion.
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when.
see, just like Usher back in the day, Justin Bieber was also about the same age when he started spending way too much time around Diddy. Puff was out here promising him cars, mansions, the whole fantasy lifestyle. But for some reason, their little friendship suddenly stopped. And there's actual footage of Justin looking visibly uncomfortable when Diddy pressed him on why he didn't hang out anymore. That clip alone raised a lot of eyebrows, and the whispers. They've always been that both Usher and Diddy may have done things to Justin, allegedly messy, right? But it doesn't end there. Usher's name also came up during Diddy's trial, thanks to Dawn Richard. Yes, the same Dawn who filed that bombshell lawsuit before even stepping on the stand. She dropped Usher's name alongside Neo and Jimmy Iovine, saying they all witnessed one of Diddy's darkest moments with Cassie. According to her account, during negotiations for the Bad Boy Interscope deal, Puff hosted a dinner at a West Hollywood restaurant. Big names were there: Neo, Usher, Jimmy Iovine. But in the middle of it all, Puff allegedly snapped. He hissed something at Cassie in a rage, then punched her in the stomach right in front of everyone, leaving her doubled over in tears. Cassie had to be escorted out, while Puff stayed behind and carried on socializing like nothing had just happened. So when you really think about it, it's not just that Usher may have been Puff's victim at one point. It's also possible he helped cover for him, and maybe that's the real reason he's never fully come out and exposed Puff himself. Allegedly, but here's the thing. From what I'm hearing, this whole situation is about to explode all over again. And as usual, y'all know I keep my ears to the streets. Trust me, there's way more under the surface than we've been told. And that alleged testimony from a health practitioner? That could change everything now. Let me ask y'all this. Do you think it's finally time for Usher to stop holding back and drop that tell-all book? Drop your thoughts down in the comments, because this tea is far from over.